do believe that meditation is one of the only ways, whether it's walking, whether you're just looking, creating space and trying to disconnect from yourself is one of the only ways that you can find that.
I would tweak you just a little bit and say you're not disconnecting from yourself, you're disconnecting and resting into the self.
Ooh, yeah. Capital S.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh yeah, so if I would love just for a couple moments, if you don't mind sharing, what is it like when you start allowing this information to come in?
Mhm.
What do you do before that to open up to that space? And do you mind sharing what that experience is?
So for me is I've mostly always worked in an absolutely dark room, like a sensory deprived environment. What I've been trained to do and how I feel safe and most skillful is being in a dark room. So I sit in a dark room, and then I do have meditative practice that I begin, which is it's unique and specific to me doing the work. And without giving away the specific things that I visualize or things that I do or experience, I'll kind of talk about what it is. Now, some of the activities are that I do in this meditation are things that were shown and came to me sometimes more than 30 years ago. When I first began to awaken to my extrasensory ability, I had a variety of outer body experiences and all kinds of kind of paranormal things, which could be, I guess, discussed at another time. But they really don't have much meaning, to be truthful, except for the fact that they become part of the ritual. And so loosely, what I do is I sit, I'll do some vocalization exercises, then I'll go quiet. Then I will, put my feet on the floor, straighten my back, and then open up the body to feel those relaxed and open spaces. Then I work with my breathing. Okay? So I draw the diaphragm deep within the pelvis, hold, exhale. These are pretty straightforward pranayama, right? Then, because I've been doing it for many, 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 many years, it's accompanied by some dramatic physical sensations. And it is a feeling of separation. And then there's a visualization of kind of putting that all aside. And then is a the opening up to the presence, like being fully present in the eternal now. And then from there, I place my attention on the circulation of energy in the body. So I'm not necessarily doing chakra thing. I don't really ascribe to this sort of opening up of chakras and closing them down kind of business. Your chakras are always functioning, and they're not really organs that do a certain function. The chakras are really they're the they're the observations of the energy flow. So not do a lecture on that, but it's I become mindful of the circulation of energy, and I build energy in what's called the hara, which is the just center just below the navel and inside the body, and then begin to allow the energy to distribute up the spine and up through what would be commonly understood as the chakras, and then peel off and separate again. And then there's an opening of the heart, and then there's some other more personal things that occur that then enters into a mission statement of being of service and not basically thy will be done.
Yeah.
And from there it's there's a different I'm sitting in the dark, and now I can see in the dark, and I'm super sharp, and I begin to get images or experiences. I might make a couple notes on a pad, and then we pick up the phone and I engage with the client, and then we walk them through an entire process that requires their engagement, that addresses and resolves their concerns from this more impersonal kind of illumined space.
Wow. What a beautiful process. Thank you for sharing that. I think being in service is just so important and trying to find what our life work is of how we can be of service. Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you so much. I Wish I could talk to you for hours and hours, but you have a life and I don't. So just kidding.
I have clients to go after this, so my first client starts. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to really just thank you. We're going to have everything in the show notes. But if you would like to say out loud your websites, where people can find your book, and how they can find you if they ever want to work with you, I'd love for you to say it verbally as well.